We're in Germany right now.
And we haven't slept.
We haven't slept. 9 hours and 30 minutes on a plane is a long time. Right now, it just feels good to stretch those legs. And we have 3.5 hours left until we reach our final destination. And from the plane, we witness the beautiful snow-capped peaks soon turn into a dusty, dry desert. This is our adventure. An adventure that takes us to an unfamiliar part of the world for us. It's definitely a culture shock, from the unorganized, mind-numbing, chaotic traffic to the Muslim chanting on the loudspeakers throughout the city. We've never experienced anything so culturally different before, somewhat out of our comfort zone. But this is what we thirst for. Something different, something unique. Welcome to Egypt. Our first stop in Egypt is Cairo, located in Lower Egypt. Yes, you heard me correctly. You see, the Nile River is one of the few rivers in the world that flows north. So naturally, everything is the opposite in Egypt. Upper is called lower, and lower is called upper. Cairo is the capital of Egypt with a population of 21.3 million people. And to escape the chaotic constant honking and traffic, we turn to the Egyptian Museum. The Egyptian Museum is one of the world's most important museums of ancient history and one of its great spectacles. Here, the treasures of King Tut lie alongside the grave goods, mummies, jewelry, eating bowls, and toys of Egyptians whose names are lost in history. To walk around the museum is to embark on an adventure through time. The museum is huge and will take you days to see every little artifact. The highlight of the museum is the King Tut exhibit. Unfortunately, we couldn't film inside his chamber. There you'll find his mask and casket. It was very mesmerizing. The Egyptian Museum is the oldest archaeological museum in the Middle East, housing over 170,000 artifacts. It has the largest collection of pharaonic antiques in the world. It was time to get back into our van and brave Cairo's messy road system. The city of Cairo is like a museum in itself. It was hard to listen to our guide because my focus was distracted by the Egyptian culture being displayed right before my eyes. There was so much to see. I've never witnessed camel walking on the streets before. Horse carriages seem like ancient times to me, and even little funny-looking vehicles that looked pieced together. Finally, we made it to our next stop, the Key of Life papyrus shop. Here, we would learn how they made paper out of the papyrus plant. Our instructor began with a brief history of Egyptian culture. He then showed us what the papyrus plant looked like.
Number 2, the stem has a triangle shape, like the pyramid, which in eternity and
How you roll it flat.
To make a paper like that, firstly we cut the stem.
Then you dip it in water.
If you want a bigger,
you let it dry, and there you have it, papyrus paper. One of the most long-lasting pieces of paper in the world. This is the piece we ended up getting. The excitement starts to build as we get closer and closer to the pyramids. A glimpse of the magnificent stone tombs can be seen from the highway. We dished up about 160 Egyptian pounds per person to enter the park. That's about $10 US. The pyramids were right before our eyes. The Great Pyramid of Giza is a defining symbol of Egypt and the last of the ancient 7 wonders of the world. It was built over a 20-year period during the reign of the King Khufu, 2589 to 2566 BC of the 4th dynasty. Until the Eiffel Tower was completed in Paris, France in 1889, the Great Pyramid was the tallest structure made by human hands in the world, a record it held for over 3,000 years. These are the mighty pyramids of Giza. And as an added bonus, we got to ride some camels to make the trip more authentic. We loved the experience and highly recommend it. although getting on the camel is not the easiest thing to do. Okay, we are now on a camel, heading over to the Pyramids of Egypt.
My camel got a little crazy.
It will cost you 300 Egyptian pounds for a half-hour camel ride. That's about $20 per person. But if you possess good haggling skills, we got them down to 300 for both of us. And don't forget the tip.
There we go.
One of the highlights of our ride was the camel run. Mine only lasted a bit because my camel was lazy. All she wanted to do was get back to camp with the others and relax. But hey, I don't blame her. This is a full-time job for her 7 days a week. The last time we saw pyramids, we were in Mexico. They didn't have any camels running around, but these pyramids had a unique sound originating from the top if you stand in the right place and clap your hands. To find out what it sounds like, click the link above. The Big Pyramid rises to a height of 479 feet, with a base of 754 feet, and is comprised of over 2 million blocks of stone. Some of these stones are of such immense size and weight, such as the granite slabs in the King's Chamber, that the logistics of raising and positioning them so precisely seems an impossibility by modern standards. We got a chance to go inside one of the pyramids. Yep.
So Jameson is coming down the small pyramid.
So it really helps to be short. Me being 6 foot tall doesn't help. Yeah.
This is the Great Wall of Pyramid.
Great Wall of Pyramid.
Here we go, we're going up.
I think we're almost at the end. We're trekking along. You can enter both the Great Pyramid and Khafre's Pyramid. The Great Pyramid will cost you 400 Egyptian pounds, and Khafre's was a bargain at 100 Egyptian pounds each. You'll see basically the same thing in each pyramid. It's quite an experience, and now I can officially say I've been inside the pyramids. It was time to make our way to the Great Sphinx, one of the largest surviving sculptures in the world. A small marketplace tries to lure you in with their made-from-China souvenirs. If you're not interested, just say no, and then no again, and maybe no a couple more times. They are very pushy at trying to sell you their items, but just learn to ignore them and they'll let you be. Exactly how the pyramids were built still puzzles people in the modern day. The theory of ramps running around the outside of the structure to move the blocks into place has been largely discredited. So-called fringe or New Age theories abound in an effort to explain the advanced technology required for the structure, citing extraterrestrials and their imagined frequent visits to Egypt in antiquity. Another enduring theory regarding the monument's construction is that it was built on the backs of slaves. All of this effort went to creating a grand tomb for the king, who, as a mediator between the gods and the people, was thought to be deserving of the finest of tombs. Theories regarding the original purpose of the Great Pyramid range from the fanciful to the absurd and may be investigated elsewhere, but the culture which produced the monument would have regarded it as a tomb, an eternal home for the king. The Great Sphinx of Giza is the most instantly recognizable statue associated with ancient Egypt and among the most famous in the world. The sculpture of a recumbent lion with the head of an Egyptian king was carved out of limestone on the Giza Plateau, probably in the reign of the king Khafre. The Sphinx is directly in line with Khafre's pyramid complex, and this also supports the claim that he was its creator. We had a wonderful time visiting the Great Pyramids of Giza. It was a little cold that day, but at the end of it all, it was well worth it. But now we were hungry and we wanted to try out the local food. This is called shawarma. It is a popular dish in Egypt consisting of meat cut into thin slices, stacked in a cone-like shape, and roasted on a slowly turning vertical rotisserie or spit. Originally made with lamb, mutton, or chicken, today's shawarma may also be turkey, beef, or veal. My wife had the chicken, and I had the beef. It was so good. One of the things you think of when you mention the word Egypt and Cairo together is the Old Cairo Market. The Old Cairo Market is located in the Islamic district of Cairo. It is said to be the oldest open-air market in the Middle East. No trip to Cairo is complete without a visit to this bazaar. More people visit the bazaar than any other attraction in the country, but this is of course because the bazaar is equally as popular between tourists and locals alike. You can find everything you've ever wanted from Egypt here: spices, souvenirs, Turkish coffee, and Egyptian lamps. Again, haggle your way to some excellent deals and never settle on their first price. The next morning, we had an unexpected surprise, something that wasn't on our itinerary. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
And we are hitting the Fortress of Saladin today.
There's a movie about it.
Yes.
It's called what now?
Kingdom of Heaven, starring Orlando Bloom.
Yes. So when we get home, we're going to be sure to watch that.
Yes. All right, here we go. Perched atop a hill in central Cairo, the Saladin Citadel is a historic Islamic fortification. It was home to the rulers of Egypt for over 700 years. And in the middle of the fortress stands the Muhammad Ali Mosque. Muhammad Ali Pasha, whom many considered the father of modern Egypt for his numerous enduring modern reforms, commissioned this mosque to be built in 1830 in memory of his son.
Wow.
Construction took over 20 years. The architect is said to have used the Sultan Ahmed Mosque in Istanbul as a model for his design. It was intended originally to serve as the national mosque for a newly quasi-independent state of Egypt. It is today one of the first buildings visible when approaching Cairo from any direction. And right below the fortress lies two more mosques, side by side. The mosque and madrasa of Sultan Hassan is one of the largest and most exquisite mosques in all of Egypt. Its proximity to the citadel ultimately resulted in its use as a fort by enemies several times throughout its history. Some sultans seriously considered demolishing it because enemy armies would use the mosque's high platforms to launch attacks on the citadel. Back alleyway labyrinths are a favorite of ours, and Cairo has plenty of them to keep you busy. It's always fun to explore and get lost. The surprise is you never know what you might find within them. Today we were lucky. We managed to stumble upon a gem. This is the Abu Sirga Church. And what is so special about this church? It is one of the oldest Coptic churches in Egypt. The church was built in the 4th century and was probably finished during the 5th century. The Holy Family, Joseph, Mary, and the infant Jesus Christ, rested at the end of their journey into Egypt. This is where Jesus Christ slept. We saw a lot in Cairo. The mysterious Great Pyramids were a wonder to the eyes. Traveling somewhere unfamiliar to your own culture brings you a different perspective of life. It opens your eyes to a whole new world you only read about in textbooks. Cairo showed us just that. And the best thing about it all? This is just the beginning. On the next SteinVentures, we make our way to Upper Egypt to the city of Aswan and discover our first temple. We hop aboard a cruise ship and we set sail along the Nile River toward Luxor. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.